Hey visionaries, Chris right here with Royal Realty Group, brokered by eXp Realty. Buying and selling a home can be a stressful process, but we are here to help you throughout the way. Feel free to reach out to us on all social media platforms at Royal Realty Group TX. Now enjoy the show with Cuff and Mo.
Why in the world do you have on this Texas A&M Aggie outfit on?
Man, I live in the great state of Texas, man, and around here, Jimbo Fisher gives me free gear, free 99, so I'm gonna continue to rock it whenever I get it. So you never have to worry about me not rocking Texas A&M. I support Jimbo Fisher 100%. You know what I mean? The same way I rock my Florida State gear because it's free 99 because I went there. I'm a friend of the programs at Texas A&M, so I'm gonna rock my A&M gear.
I can dig it. So, man, we appreciate you being on the show. We're definitely looking forward to it. Visionaries, thank you guys for tuning in for another great episode. Obviously, I'm here with my partner in crime, Ryan Cuffey. My name is Ryan Mosley. Obviously, today's guest, ladies and gentlemen, a native of Los Angeles, California. He was a first-round draft pick in 2005 by the Houston Texans. Everybody, please welcome Travis Johnson to the Vision Lab podcast. Trav, what's going on, man?
Man, same old shit, different toilet. What's going down?
Man, we appreciate you hopping on the show. We're going to get right to it, right? So football season is knocking on the door, right? We are days away, and there's a lot going on, whether it's, NIL, Deshaun Watson, just there's a multitude of issues, right? So we wanted to hop on with you, and we know our visionaries know we're not necessarily a sports show, but we figured we might as well talk to somebody who's got a valid opinion on a few things. So first question being, right, obviously NIL and conference realignment is all just taking the college football world by storm. You and I have had like previous conversations about the whole NIL thing. When it first came down, what was your original or immediate thoughts on it?
Man, I think it's a good deal. I just think you got to make sure they do it correctly. I think they got to make sure that the kids are taken care of, because I think this is a deal where eventually it's going to be a bunch of parents that get paid and the kids ain't going to have shit. I think it's always about how you structure everything. So when you structure things correctly, I think then it'd be helpful for the guys who play for their growth. So unless you're gonna do that, then I think it's null and void. I mean, yeah, there's gonna be guys make a lot of money. There's gonna be guys make a little bit of money. But I think first and foremost, the priority has to be, can we take care of the guys?
Travis, let me ask you this, bro. Let me ask you this. With respect to, let's just say an assistant coach, position coach, right? And they're making $200,000 a year. But now all of a sudden you got this 5-star recruit that's making $1 million off of NIL money or more. How challenging does that put the coaches in a really, tough situation, a tough position?
Well, I mean, it doesn't put them in the bad position at all. I mean, to be honest, how many fans really know any of those coaches? You know what I'm saying? How many of those fans really, like, let's be real. The kids put the butts in the seats. Unless you got Nick Saban as your coach, unless you got Jimbo Fisher, unless you got David Shaw, there's only a few coaches out there that's really putting fans in the seats. And there's only a few of those guys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying is you're in a position coach meeting, right? And coach says, hey, you need to get off this block. Here's how you do it. And you like, nah, bro. I know what I'm doing. I got the $1 million contract already. What I got to do? Why I got to listen to you?
You don't want kids like that, no way. You know what I'm saying? You don't want kids like that, no way. No matter how much you get paid, you still listen to somebody who knows more. You know what I'm saying? It don't mean shit just to say, oh, I get $1 million. That'll be the last $1 million you make if you don't listen. You know what I'm saying? So it's man, listen, dog. The best ability is accountability. Can I count on you to be the same person, regardless of you getting $1 million or you getting $1? You know, and in the day is if there's guys that don't want to be fucking coached because they get $1 million, well then in the words of damn Bernie Mac, fuck them. Get them on up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Period. Like you don't need to play for me. You know what I'm saying? Period. So I don't care how much money you make. Kick rocks.
I can dig it. So from a player's perspective, right? You spent plenty of time in the NFL and you have an understanding of what it's like to be a young person. And the next thing you know, a sudden influx of cash. If you could give advice to players who are literally cashing in as this whole NIL thing just continues to roll, what would be one of the first pieces of advice you would give to the players and the parents of these players?
For the players, I would tell them say no. For the parents, I would tell them it's not your money. You know what I'm saying? Like your kids don't owe you nothing. Like it's not a pay you for changing my diapers. It's not a pay you for feeding me. It's not a pay you for taking me to sports events. It's not none of that. You know what I'm saying? It's none of that. It is so your kid can take care of their kid eventually and their family. You know what I'm saying? It's not their job to take care of you when you're still willing and able. You see what I'm saying? So I'll tell kids, learn how to say no. Because I was fortunate, my parents had good jobs. So my parents ain't never asked me for bread. You know what I'm saying? I gave my parents bread because I felt like giving my parents bread. But at the same time, if you raise your kids right, you want them to be better than you. So guess what? If you ask like that shit, that to me is whack. Like and I know it's gonna happen. And that's why I'm saying people need to put a good team in place and make sure the parents ain't taking all the money, because that's exactly what's gonna happen. It's all the parents, all these NIL deals are gonna pay the parents, they ain't gonna pay nobody else.
If you were in charge, and we're obviously still on the front end, right? Because at this point there's really like no regulation when it comes to NIL. What would be like stipulations or guardrails, if you will, that you would put in place to protect the players? Like you said, it's about the player.
The money would always go to a trust. The money would have went from a trust from the beginning. You know, trusting each player's name not to be touched by anybody before certain dates. I think I would be able to. The trust will then pay you. You know, you got to think about it. When you was in school, you get somebody extra $1,000 a month. That's more than enough to be fucking okay. You know what I'm saying? Extra band a month. You know what I'm saying? On top of your scholarship bread. Like you don't need 250 bands every year to be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you gonna do? Spend it all in the mall? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you gonna be in Governor Square all the time? You gonna be Mall of America all the time? Buy all the latest shoes? Like, what you gonna do with $1 million in college?
Yeah, when your wardrobe was nothing but athletic issue sweats.
The wardrobe is team issue gear, and all your meals. Like you in prison without the bars. They give you 3 hots and a cot every day and clothes to put on. Like, come on, it ain't nothing you need for or should want for.
Oh my goodness. So we've talked about NIL, right? And obviously the NFL season's right behind it. Whether it's, being and having the first-hand experience of watching dudes get cut as their dreams literally fade away with the knock on the door or a phone call, right? Can you talk about your experience being a first-round pick, like watching that, like seeing, cut day, like, this dude was here 30 minutes ago and now the locker's empty? Like, can you talk about some of those experiences?
Well, I mean, it was, difficult at times when you see guys that putting everything on the line. I watched the guy my rookie year. Come down with the flu or dehydrated or something. Something, you know what I mean? And they took him to the hospital. And he had to get an IV at the hospital. Dude's in full uniform now. I mean, literally in full uniform. He catches a cab. And mind you, this is before Uber. He catches a cab from the dang hospital to the stadium, pulls up with the IV line still hanging out of his arm, dripping blood. He tapes that thing up, has no money to pay the cab. Literally told the cab driver, listen, I'm going to text him. I need to get to the stadium. I'll pay you when the game is over. I got to get back. This is his last chance to make the team. This is a guy who at the time was 9 years in.
Woo.
He came back in there, ripped the IV line out, taped that sucker up, and went in there to play. Like that's how much these guys want it. So much these guys want to be on these teams. And to get cut, I've never been cut. I just wasn't re-signed. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know that feeling, but like I seen how hurt some guys were. Like I know guys who became teachers afterwards, like, and then went from teachers to working out every day to getting another job, a year later or 6 months later. And I know it's hurtful because one thing is we've all been playing this game since we was, I'm out here watching my son right now, and he's 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? And we were all out here, playing this game since he was 10. You play until you 10, from 10 years old and before until you're 22, 23, 30 years old, and somebody tell you we don't want you to play anymore. That's a hurtful feeling, man. That's one of those things where you just like it's nothing to explain it, man. You know what I mean? Like everybody prepared us to be great, but nobody prepared us when the lights turned off and the cheer stopped. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of those. It's a hard place to be at in your life, especially at 22, 23 years old, and you don't know how to do anything. You don't know how to go get insurance. You don't know how to do any of the basic stuff you got to do to survive. You still don't know how to do.
So what's your advice to somebody that may be on the fringe or may have just got cut going into the new season?
The fringe of what? Making a team?
Yeah, they're on the fringe, on the bubble, or maybe they get picked up in free agency or whatnot.
Everybody, it should be, even before that, college is saying, what do you want to do? If you want to be a TV producer, go do internship. You want to be a coach, make sure your coaches know, you know what I'm saying? Make sure the coaches know from the jump that you want to be a TV or a coach. Like make sure so they know when it comes time to call you. You know what I mean? So you set up jobs for the future, set up things for the future. So I think that's the most important thing too. Just set up, make sure you prepare yourself for what's next.
Now, speaking of somebody that just got cut, though, right? And obviously, I understand you've never been cut. We know you're Seminole, you're a baller, you did your thing, first round, yada yada. Like it's all love. But for those that you see Buddy in the locker room, knowing knowing what just happened, what are you telling him?
Well, it depends. It's just sometimes just keep your head up and keep going, bro. I'm over here. I'm looking down down the field. I'm looking at Tramon Williams right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at Tramon Williams right now. I'm looking down the field at Tramon Williams, and I remember Tramon Williams in 06 when we were here in Houston, and Tramon gets cut on the last cuts, and we know players that Tramon Williams deserved to make this team. Tramon is a guy who's been making plays from the start of camp to the end of camp. And they cut him because of some of the players that they signed that offseason. And he was an undrafted free agent. Well, Tramon goes and he doesn't play for about, I want to say 9 weeks. He doesn't have a job. But he's working out. He's still staying diligent in all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's still yeah. He's still staying diligent in all his workouts. So guess what he did? The Packers picked him up. He ended up with what's called? He ended up with a job and he played there for 13 years.
Hey everyone, Edwina Brown here, owner operator of Blowin' Smoke Cigar Lounge. We're located at 1604 North Interstate 35E in Lancaster, Texas. We would love for you to come see us. We stand on the 3 C's, which are cigars, our community, and our culture. Cigars, we have over 300 SKUs in our humidor and it's still growing. Come check it out, a massive humidor. We also love our culture here, which we're about customer service, as well as community, which is why we're excited to partner with the Vision Lab podcast. So come check us out.
One of the terms you kept mentioning, and it's part of the show why we wanted to have you on it, right? You kept mentioning like the future, or guys not knowing like, hey, I played football all my life and I have no idea what my future looks like outside of football. when you were faced with a decision like, okay, I'm not being re-signed, and you internally realized like, okay, I gotta make the next move. How did you go about setting out your future?
Well, I always wanted to be TV, radio. If I would have stayed home, I probably would have been on TV and shit. But for me, it was always I wanted to coach. I wanted to be able to pour into young men's lives, the same way all my coaches had poured into mine. You know what I'm saying? Because that was instrumental in my growth. And so for me, it was I knew I wanted to coach, and how do I get to that point? You know what I mean? So it was always just like, I'll do it, I'll volunteer. And it was a struggle for the first 2 years, because the first 2 years, I still wanted to play. You know what I'm saying? I still thought I could play. And, my shoulders just wouldn't hold up, and it was time. But at the same time, for me, all I wanted to do was play ball. You know what I mean? But I knew if I couldn't play ball, I wanted to be as close to it as I possibly could. And I think coaching, I didn't have the patience to coach Little League ball, because these kids can't do 90% of the shit you ask them to do. I didn't have the patience to play high school ball, because, I coached high school ball. Like I coached at Dr. Phillips for a little bit down in Orlando, you know what I'm saying? But then when it came time I started coaching junior college and started getting a couple of college offers, like it was easier, because I knew, okay, I recruited this kid, I know what he can do, I see the potential, and I can get guys to play on, I can get guys bigger scholarships. So that was real fulfilling for me, you know what I mean? And that was one of those things where I knew I wanted to be around the game, or I knew I wanted to talk about the game. And so it became a lot easier mentally to know what I wanted to do. Was it easier to get it done? No, yeah, I had a thought in my head, but now the process of getting it done, I think was where the struggle ensued.
You've had a lot of very influential coaches. Obviously, you played for literally one of the best coaches in the history of football, period, college or the NFL. Who has been the most influential figure in your life from a football standpoint?
Oh man, from a football standpoint, probably Odell Haggins, man. Between Odell, which is my D-line coach, I've been fortunate to have like phenomenal D-line coaches, man, throughout my life, man. In high school, I had Chris St. John, who was a student assistant at Florida State later on. He's now a student assistant. He's now a GA or assistant coach at, I think, West Alabama, one of the places. Then I had Odell. Then I had Mike London, who was, at one point was the head coach at University of Virginia. I've had Don Johnson, Bob Karmelowitz. I've had great Jethro Franklin. I have great coaches. So I think it starts with Odell. The type of coach Odell was. I was one of the kids who was 3,054 miles away from the house and couldn't go home. We play Florida, after Thanksgiving or before Thanksgiving, or after Thanksgiving, I guess every year. You know what I mean? And so I wasn't allowed to go home. Most guys get to go, drive home for the weekend or whatever, and I'm stuck in Tallahassee. You know what I mean? So I think Odell really always, taking me fishing to feeding me to just nurturing me and being a second father figure. You know what I mean? Like being that guy, with my dad being, in Los Angeles and being so far away, being that guy to support and love on me and help me be the man and the player that I wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? So that was always a wonderful thing.
Gotcha. As we get ready to kind of wind things down, right? Again, the future and vision, these are kind of like some like the undertones of our show. Before I land the plane, if you will, when I say the word future, what's the first thing that pops into your mind?
My children. Why? Because I think they are the future. I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. No. When I think about my children, man, I stopped coaching because I wanted to pour into my own. You know what I'm saying? Like I stopped coaching because I felt a certain type of way. I asked myself one day, I'm sitting there and I'm looking, I'm like, why is it that, Michael Jordan's kids never make it? And I'm not saying I'm the Jordan of football, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sitting there like, why did Jordan's kid not make it? You know what I'm saying? And because he wasn't there to pour into them. Like if you look right now, you look at like LeBron's kids, right? You look at Carmelo's kids. You look at all these kids that like the new age dads that played in the league, like our generation of guys.
They get it.
And they get it. And all we hearing about is what their kids are doing, right? And how did that happen? That happened because they pouring into those kids. They giving them the blueprint to be successful. You see what I'm saying? They giving them the blueprint to be successful. You know, so when you give them the blueprint to be successful, they got a better opportunity. You know what I'm saying? When you look at guys, generational guys who played in the league, and you say who comes and how do their kids come after them and after that, say how does that happen? You know what I'm saying? When you learn those things, you realize it all came from who poured into them. And so when I stopped coaching, it was my kids are my future. You know what I'm saying? The girls, the boys, and making sure that they had the blueprint for success. And I feel like, you know, for the most part, I'm the 1% of the 1%. You know what I'm saying? I've done something that only 30,000 people in the world have ever done. It's not even 20,000 of us living right now. You know what I'm saying? And I think that right there is at some point is a blueprint for success. And I think, I wanted to make sure they had that. So when I think of future, that's all I think about. I think is of my future, of my director, you know, the House of Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Like we just talked about the house of Dragon, the House of Johnson. You know what I'm saying? And just seeing how my house is built and realizing the same thing they said. The only thing that keep my house from being, you know, one of the great houses of all time is our own, you know what I'm saying, our own people to keep us from being great. And that's just how I see it.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, you mentioned the word pour. Cuff, it's time to land the plane. And Travis, you get to find out. This part of the show is brought to you by the good folks at Sagamore Spirits. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Tim, Kevin Plank, everybody at Sagamore for making sure this partnership took place.
Thank them rap bastards sent me one in the mail.
Hey, we'll get you in contact and try to figure it out. You know, it's Orion. It's on point.
I don't mind having a little whiskey, a little rye whiskey get delivered to my house. You know what I'm saying?
Visionaries, your local Specs, Goody, Twin Liquors, whatever liquor store you live by, make sure you get yourself a bottle of Sagamore Spirit. We stand by it for a reason. Those of you who listen to the show know we don't have products on the show unless we stand behind it 100%.
There are a few hard truths to whiskey that most brands don't like to admit. First, there's a lot of it. And second, despite its lore and romance, whiskey is often complex and intimidating. Is that high or low proof? Toasted or charred? Aged or finished? Straight or blended? Imported or American? Endless options, endless questions, endless confusion. But there is a whiskey out there that makes selecting it simple. An exceptional spirit made with local ingredients and committed to its communities. That's us. That's Sagamore Spirit. Sagamore Spirit has been and always will be more than just whiskey. Our work, your work, is greater than the sum of its parts. Keep the momentum moving. And one more thing, it's whiskey. Have fun with it.
That being said, as I pour myself,
I didn't know we were pouring glasses. I would have stayed home.
Well, it worked out. You can't have you out there pouring glasses on a Little League football field.
Oh, I have done that before, and I don't mind. The parents understand. Yeah, when you got kids, you got to drink. You know what I'm saying? When you're not drinking, I know things. You know what I'm saying?
So we asked this question to everybody on the show. Is you, and there's a round table, and there are 5 other seats. You get to have 5 other people at the table, dead or alive, outside of whatever religious deity you believe in. Who are the 5 people you want at your table?
So 5 people that I want at my table. I would say Deacon Jones, Reggie White, Warren Sapp, Lawrence Taylor, and Jamil Hill.
So literally 4 of the most dangerous people who ever played in the NFL in the history of the game.
I would have, and then I would have Jamil so she could be the person to talk us through an entire roundtable discussion. You know what I mean? Somebody got to host this roundtable, so I would have her host the roundtable and get all the best things out of it. You know, I was fortunate in my life to meet, you know, now I think all of those guys at that table. When we talk about Deacon Jones, we talk about Reggie White, when you talk about those guys, like meeting those guys as youngsters probably changed my life. You know what I mean? And you know, it'd be wonderful just sit down and talk to them again. Like I filmed a show with Deacon Jones when I was called Hardcore Football on Fox Sports when I was probably 16, 17 years old. It took us like 2 hours to film this little 15-minute segment because Deacon cursed every other word. He had to smoke his every other, and he just was, and he got to talking about fucking D-line playing. His eyes got big, and he, man, you know, and it just was it was some of the most wonderful experience and memories I've ever had in my life, man. You know, I once had a guy tell me, man, this game will give you M&Ms, man. And I was like, M&Ms? I said, money and memories, man, money and memories. And this game is giving me money and memories, dog. It's giving me a whole lot of M&Ms, man. I like the peanut kind. So it's been filled with a lot of stuff, man. So I'm excited, man.
Before we wind things all the way down, what was it like? At what age did you get to meet Lawrence Taylor?
So I got to meet Lawrence as a retired guy. So we were in Bermuda playing golf. And first time I met LT, man, and LT got to sit there and chop it up with LT, man, and his wife and talk about everything, man. It was LT a goon, man. Like, he a good dude.
I've heard the stories, and everyone I've talked to says they met him in person. Like, he's a great dude, but like he's a different cat, is what I keep hearing.
Oh, when the lights come down, man, when it get dark outside, man, that werewolf come out. You know what I'm saying? and it was wonderful to see, man. It was great to sit there, man, chop it up with him. Great to play golf with him. It was like, man, LT is the shit, bro. Like, and then hear him talk about the game, like, you know, Sap like a big brother to me. You know what I'm saying? So Sap, I'm always talking, like, he FaceTimed me last week just talking shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's my brother. I love that dude. You know what I mean? And so, like, the one person that I wish was at that table too, Derek Thomas. I wish he don't pass. If he don't pass, you know what I mean, when he does, I think he get to really sit down with DT, man. I think that'd have been a hell of a roundtable discussion, man. I would love to be at that table.
So underappreciated.
Oh, yeah. No question. 7 sacks in one game, man, and should have had 9. You know what I'm saying? And could have done it twice.
Yeah. But he missed the one that counted.
Yeah, he did miss the one that count, man. You know, the crazy part is, man, like some of these young kids, man, don't even know. Like, it's easy to find players, you know what I mean? Like now, based on the internet and all this other shit, like we had to watch this shit on tape, VHS, man, NFL films, and you just hope, like, man, I can go rent one from the library, or my coach might have one, but I got to take it back by a certain day. I got to dub it.
It's on a reel.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
that's being hungry for it, though. That's hungry for the knowledge of the game.
Yeah, but that was me, man, at a young age, man. Was like I still got, like, my parents, when they bought me my box of stuff, dog, I got stacks of VHSs at the house, man, of just NFL films, man. And it's all D linemen, though. You know what I'm saying? Mark Gaston now. It was all D linemen. And it's just like the craziest shit ever to see now. Like, man, like I love that shit, dog. You know what I mean? And I just pray that my kids love it the way I love it. You know what I'm saying?
That's love it. Go ahead, Cuff.
All right, so Travis, in case you don't know, we do have a magical time machine here in the lab.
Yep.
What advice would Travis Johnson be giving himself from 5 years ago?
From 5 years ago?
Yes, sir.
Nothing. Now, if you say from 15, 16 years ago, or let's say, you know, back, if I could rewind to 05, 06, I tell them, shut the fuck up, man. Just listen, man, to play ball. You know, 5 years ago, I would tell them, hey, man, smoke, drink, do whatever the fuck you want to do, man. Life is too short. You know what I'm saying? Keep going. Keep doing the same thing you're doing, player. Smoke you 4 cigars a day. Drink you a bottle of whiskey. You know what I'm saying? Lust after your wife, nigga, with all your heart. You know what I'm saying? And just be the same dude. You know what I mean? If you talk about 18 years ago, I'll tell him, man, hey, man, shut the fuck up, man, and just go to work. Listen. You know what I'm saying? To be a great leader, sometimes you got to listen and learn to follow.
Yes, sir.
You know, so that's what I would say. I would say to younger myself.
All right, now we're gonna make you a little bit older, and I see you got a lot of wiseness to you.
Man, that's the kids and baby mama that got me great, man. That's all that is, man.
So we're gonna make you a little bit older, give you a couple more of those wise man hairs. And what advice would the older version of Travis Johnson, what advice is he telling you today?
Shit, I don't know. I don't know. Hey, you should have went with a different brand of whiskey. I don't know, dog. Like, probably, don't go so hard on your kids sometimes, That probably would have been it. Probably don't go so hard on the kids. You know what I mean?
Hey, again, this segment of the show is brought to you by the good folks at Sagamore Spirits. Get to your nearest liquor store and ask for Sagamore Spirits at your favorite Specs, Goody Goody, Twin Liquors, whatever it is you visit.
I'm gonna go to Specs right now and get me one now. Y'all threatened me with a good time.
Hey.
Well, Travis, we definitely appreciate your time. Obviously, this is me personally as a lifelong Florida State fan. This has been super cool to have you on the show and really I
appreciate you having me, bro.
Oh, no problem at all. And being able to talk to you about some real stuff. Visionaries, thank you guys again for tuning in for another great episode. My name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Cuffey. Thank you again to our guest, Travis Johnson. And we'll see you guys next week on another great episode of the Vision Lab Podcast.
Oh, man, appreciate y'all for having me, bro.
Blessings.